Going to keep, as will Kyle. We're underway here on our last round of the Swiss. It's a Zergo, and it's Matt saying, hey, here's what I'm up to. Hope you're ready. And we're going to find out real quick if Kyle is.
I see openings like this, and sometimes I'm nostalgic for playing rather than covering. I didn't get tools like Zergo, you know? Goblin Guide, I guess, was good.
You got Goblin Guide, and you did some real work with Goblin Guide.
But the density of good, cheap drops now sends my heart aflutter.
Kyle with the Plains to start.
And an opening line of Plains is, in a weird way, already kind of bad news for Kyle.
Yep.
Normally, this deck opens up on comes into play tap lands, or it has issues with colored mana.
A Temple, a Sandstep Citadel, something. Has none of the above. There's a 4. Okay.
Okay.
Force isn't bad, actually. There's Fleet's main line. That's the first test. We're going to go back to Ratajczak. With his fantastic cat sleeves, he draws a Whirling Outburst.
Whirling Outburst there, a big draw as Matt already has a Tarkus command at the ready.
Yep. No sacrifice the Wooded Foothills. I have a feeling we're going to see a forest here.
I love these sort of spots because there's a pause there from Matt. And what Matt's considering there is, more than anything, I want to cast Whirling Outburst this turn. That's the best use of my mana. But if I attack with my Lightning Berserker, what are the odds that Kyle doesn't block? Because if you get a free point of damage in, that's great. I guess Matt determines that a combination of the odds are high enough that Kyle blocks, and the upside of being able to cast Whirling Outburst this turn is so significant that he's not going to attack. But if he has Stoke the Flames,
which he
gets the best of both worlds.
Yep. Now he gets to come across here for 2 points of damage. You saw him not search for a forest because he has Mana Confluence in hand. The last 2 cards are Mana Confluence and a Tarkus command.
And I love that play from Matt for a couple of reasons. One is he just wants more mountains in play to enable Lightning Berserker. The other thing is he would like to conceal the possibility of a Tarkus command for as long as possible. If Kyle thinks to himself, well, he has to have a Tarkus command and a green source of mana, he may not play around it to the extent that he should, given that Matt actually does have it.
There's the Mana Confluence. That's the green source of mana for a Tarkus command. See how Ratajczak wants to attack here.
I like everything. Yep. Get in the club.
Surprise, surprise. Here's a Tarkus command. This is a, oh boy. This is a silly amount of damage. I have to imagine Kyle's blocking something.
Yep. Matt actually just might be doing this before blocks.
Yeah, that's
you know,
fine too.
Whatever. I guess Lightning Berserker was the block.
Yep.
So.
Hero's Downfall, the draw.
4. I was trying to count and then.
Rhino's actually good.
Rhino's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be Rhino. Can't be a removal spell.
Able to use the Windswept Teeth to tap for black mana thanks to Urborg. Oddly enough, for Kyle, his lands have lined up like really good this game.
Yeah. I mean, Plains, Forest, Urborg is perfect. Get all your colors of mana, don't take any damage, cast everything on time.
All of his lands have entered the battlefield untapped.
Yeah, it's been perfect,
yep.
You know?
Matt can't attack.
I think I like attacking there if I'm in Matt's spot. A couple reasons. One is you want to get Kyle to 4, so Stoke the Flames is an option.
I would be horrified if Kyle's attacking.
This is bad news. It probably means Wingmate Rock.
Yeah, this probably means Wingmate Rock.
The other thing is if you attack, most likely scenario is Kyle blocks Zergo, because that's the best thing, and it's legendary.
Yep.
So it frees up Zergo to be a productive draw down the line.
Kyle's going to go down to 6. And at this point, I mean, this attack means Wingmate Rock most likely, but at the same time, you know, I understand where Kyle's coming from, where it's just like, well, you know, I'm not going to win by not attacking. You know, there's nothing he can do. If Matt draws a Tarkus command, good beats.
Yeah, this is the exact same spot that Kyle was in last turn, where he's dead to a Tarkus command and he's dead to Stoke the Flames.
Yep.
And he's probably good against everything else.
Yep. Can't play tentatively against these red decks. You have to kill them.
But for example, if let's imagine Matt attacks last turn, he loses Zergo, gets across for 3. Now, a lot more cards are turned on for him because he still has 3 tokens in play against Wingmate Rock and a token, so that's 1 point of damage. And then some of his lower burn spells like Lightning Strike, Wild Slash, Collateral Damage may finish the job. As it stands, it's going to be a little bit harder for those cards to win the game.
Don't have a great look at the draw.
And when it comes down to it, last turn Kyle could only block 1 thing. What happens down the road most likely is it's it's more than one thing because he either is holding up a removal spell or he has another creature or what have you. And if that's collateral damage, which I think that might have been the draw, that's one of the cards that punishes Matt for not having made the attack the previous turn. Because he attacks for 2 points of damage, goes through, assuming Zergo gets blocked. The collateral damage is 3 more points, and that's a point short. Had he attacked last turn, instead he's attacking for lethal.
I don't have a great look at it.
I'm pretty sure it's collateral damage. It's got 1 copy in the main.
Yeah, you are correct. Good eye, Sniper. Yeah, and if he has to pass again, yeah, this... Because, again, I think that we might just see on this turn Kyle just attack with everybody. Because it's presenting a lethal attack.
Also, you have a lot of insulation here because you're attacking with Waymate Rock and triggering it. So even if Matt does something to break this up, well, whatever.
There's a bunch of blocks. And Kyle is not going to move if he doesn't have to. And Zergo obviously can't block in the situation due to the text on the card. Hops on Charm, make that Rhino bigger. Trample over for a whole bunch. Kyle Boggemes is going to win game number 1 here over Matt Ratajczak. I was on aggro up a game over Tarka, right? You can see Matt's a little bit frustrated with himself, and I think it's because of that turn where you spoke about, where he just didn't attack with anything, and then he actually would have drawn a lethal collateral damage to get the job done.
I'm not sure. I mean, he was also just a point short, even with the collateral damage last turn.
Yep.
So, just trying to take stock of that. But in spots like that, your Zergo, you're holding Outburst tokens. They're not getting any better. The only reason to hold back with them is if you're trying to set up a Tarka's command. A Tarka's command would have killed Kyle regardless. And Matt critically missing out on that 1 attack there meant that he was short of lethal the following turn when he drew collateral damage.
Sideboard time. We will start Ratajczak. You've got the red deck list in front of you.
A collateral damage, a 2nd copy. 3 copies of Roast, 2 Goblin Heel Cutter, 4 Eidolon of the Great Revel. A Hall of Triumph, 2 copies of Scouring Sands, 2 copies of Destructive Revelry. On the play, I'm a fan of Roast, Goblin Heel Cutter, and Eidolon of the Great Revel. Kyle can race back, and it might be a little bit dubious when Kyle is on the draw. Also, Eidolon of the Great Revel is something that makes Kyle's Dromoka's commands a bit more powerful, so some concern there. But with Matt on the play, I think he's able to leverage it well enough. The 3 Roast, great against all of Kyle's ground pounders, most notably Siege Rhino. And Heel Cutter, Kyle's in the market to block, and I think it'd be a pretty powerful way to top off the curve.
For Mr. Boggemes, 2 Den Protector, 2 Duress, 3 Thought Seize, 2 Elspeth, 2 Drown Sorrow, 3 Ultimate Price, and a Valorous Stance.
3 copies of Ultimate Price and 2 copies of Drown Sorrow. Those are no-brainers. I think past that, most of his cards are a little bit on the slow side. Duresses might come in. I think they're a little bit on the narrow side. They're not going to hit all the time. It's not going to also help him in the games where Matt's kind of playing off the top of his deck, which is likely to happen. I think Den Protector, Elspeth, Valorous Stance, even those cards are a little bit slow, but Ultimate Price speeds up his deck, allows him to interact faster, and Drown Sorrow is one of the more powerful cards you can have against a token-based aggressive strategy.
Game number 2 going to be underway here in just a moment between Boggemes and Ratajczak. Well, we will talk about something we debuted this weekend. Regionals has been a very successful program because of you guys at home playing in the tournament. So we're able to actually do it on Pro Tour weekends, states as well, but Summer Regionals is coming up, and we want to give you a little taste of what's to come, this awesome playmat.
Yeah, gang's all here taking a selfie, and most of these are various creature collection images. This playmat will be available at the Regional Championship. We'll have more information as we get a little bit closer to that, probably past Charlotte. But again, it's a current Pro Tour weekend. We have summer and winter committed to regionals, and then spring and fall committed to states. And if you're not qualified for the Pro Tour, well, this is a great opportunity to play in some high-level tournament play and win the sweet playmat.
Based off of Ellen's Oscar photo, you find that all the game night tokens and our puns and all that stuff are here. So first 200 players that register for their particular regional will have access to this thing. StarCityGames.com/regionals for more information. That'll be coming down the pipeline soon enough. Should be a lot of fun, and that playmat is really sweet.
I did not know that was the inspiration.
I'm a pop culture guy.
Okay, because I did not know what that was. So.
Okay, that's why I'm here. If you want to know a bunch about Ellen and Kim Kardashian and Kanye's relationship troubles and bad pop music.
Oh man, I just do not at all want to know about any of that.
That's why I'm here. That's my area of expertise. I know you do things like read The Economist and educate yourself, and I follow pop culture and sports.
Yep.
Boom. And wrestling. We all know that.
Wrestling is performance art. That's different. That's different than literally caring about the relationship of two human beings because they happen to be famous. That's very different.
It's not that I care. It's what comes across the ticker, so I have to read it.
But you get to kind of cultivate what comes across your own ticker. You get to choose the media outlets that you engage with. That's how that works.
It's true.
It doesn't come across my ticker. Just put it that way.
It's very, very true. The card that was in question, by the way, was Jasmine Boreal,
Yes.
the 4/5.
Yes. Correct.
Very nicely done, Twitter.
Why is it bigger than Tobias Android? Because green and white do creatures better than blue and white.
Duh.
So you get a vanilla 4/5 for 5 as a legendary creature. And in blue and white, you just get a vanilla 4/4 for 5.
Look at that. Legendary. Peace must prevail, even if the wicked must die.
All right, bring up Tobias Android because that one's in. This is how bad the legends were.
You could say please.
Please, I'm sorry.
Just demanding that he does things.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have demanded. And keep in mind that this is at a time when Legends came out. Womp womp. This is at a time when Sarah Angel and Air Elemental were cards that you could play. They were in alpha. So you can only have one of this in play. This is also a set, you know what the most powerful card is that references Legends, both either positively or negatively in Legends is?
I do not.
Caracas, which is pretty rough on cards like this. So I just don't know what the process was. There's, 7 mana, 4/7s that tap for a black, and it's a real motley crew.
A great story to tell there for old Tobias.
Yeah.
Magic design early is just one of the best things ever.
That was one of my early tournament stories, was playing against someone who had an Italian Caracas, as Matt's taking a mulligan here at 5. And I don't think my opponent knew what it did, and I had an Aeron the Relentless, and I just had to cross my fingers and hope that it never got bounced by the Caracas, because I would have just been locked the whole time. And my opponent didn't know what their Caracas did, and I was able to take it. And it's like, that was a moment where I understood the distinction between Italian and English cards, because you just don't necessarily know what all your cards do all the time.
Oh, that's very important. Gotta have versions.
And it was Aeron the Relentless was the creature in question.
I used to own one of those.
He was really good.
I was a big fan of the red deck. I had Aeron and Chandler.
Chandler was great.
Johan, I think was another one.
The red-green legend.
I think so.
I mean, there was the anti-artifact once in Homelands, and there was Aeron the Relentless, who was like a Skizik.
My red deck was really good. Really, really good. Ratajczak is looking at 5 cards. He's got to have to keep. It's a Monastery Swift Spear. He's got an uphill climb in front of him. He'll have to hope that Boggemes' mana does not come together very well this game. Temple of Malady to start. Kyle going to keep it on top as we go back Matt's way. Swift Spear in for 2. I have a feeling there is no second land.
The turn one mana confluence does not bode well for Matt's odds of having the second land. So he'd like to play anything else.
A Windswept Heath and a passing of the turn by Kyle. Ratajczak will draw. Okay. Oh boy.
Whatever, he'll take it.
Yep.
I mean, he's on 5 cards. He's trying to play kind of a short game anyway.
Yeah. If the second land, it's just a painful one. I suppose beggars can't be choosers in this situation.
True.
Just got to take what they give you and hope it's good enough. There's your dragon fodder. 2 goblins. Attack for 4.
No, I just got to hope that it's not Drowned in Sorrow.
Yep. Hey, realistically, he's not beating any of this stuff. Drowned in Sorrow, Bile Blight, whatever.
Yep.
Just play your stuff, cross your fingers.
Again, with 5 cards, you don't really have the luxury of, leaving stuff left in reserve. You
Yep.
just got to cast the stuff that he can cast.
If it lines up right, it lines up right. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It sucks to have that be what happens with top 8 on the line, but it's the situation he's in. No play here yet from Kyle. Let's see if there's a Drown in Sorrow. There looks to be. Matt not terribly thrilled. Kyle does have to take 1 to cast it, however. So there is that.
Pretty big cost.
Matt will draw a copy of Lightning Strike.
And with Kyle at 11, it looked like there would be some hope, but I think he's got too many Siege Rhinos.
He's got at least 1, and I think 2. He's going to go a little bit lower. He's going to search himself up at Plains, I imagine. It is Rhino time. He's going to go up to 13 with Boggemes, and I think he's well on his way to an Open Series top 8 here in Cleveland. been a good couple of weeks for Kyle with a 9th place finish at Pro Tour Ratajczak here. That qualified him for Pro Tour Magic Origins. And after a great start yesterday, tripped up a little bit today, picked up a couple of losses, but with how many siege rhinos he has in his hand right now, looks like he's going to be heading to the top 8.
Hard to imagine Matt getting out from under this. I mean, he has to just sort of draw a bunch of roasts in a row, and even that, the damage from the mana confluences are probably going to do him in the long term.
Siege Rhino's a tough one for red decks to beat. We know that. I think Ratajczak might be considering a Lightning Strike in end of turn. His hand right now, I believe, is 2 strikes and a Goblin Rabble Master. Yeah, he's going to go upstairs. He has to take 2 to deal 3.
And spend one of his precious cards after a mulligan to 5.
Yep. Zergo the draw.
I like it.
Yeah. Very nice. Daddy's home. He will take 1 to play Zergo. Tie game, 10-10.
Yep.
Attack, no blocks allowed. Another Rhino.
Okay.
Matt is down to 3.
Some work to do.
To say the least.
A little bit of work to do.
Ratajczak will draw.
Founder's Denizen, which can block.
He will show his cards and extend the hand. Kyle Boggemes is going to win this game and match over Matt Ratajczak. 2 games to 0. Abzan Aggro will take care of Atarka Red. Mr. Boggemes will be playing later this evening as we work our way towards figuring out who else will be making top 8. Chris Anderson's got a shot, and we're going to be heading that way in just a moment. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we can find out the winner of that match. We were going to move to Chris Anderson versus Brad Fallen. Brad playing a green-red dragon stack with the Den Protector package.
Well, sort of. Just only 1 copy of Den Protector.
Okay. And for Chris,